Andrew.
Hello there, Geoff.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've had your business card in my wallet for I don't know how long. I've had your document on the roof of one of my cars in the storage unit for I don't know how long. I've been meaning to reach out to you and get to you for a long while now, but we'll do it on the phone instead. So, what can you tell me about FuelSpiracy?
Oh, well, okay. Well, it's a very long story, but I'll try and tell it in as quickly as I can. So, 36 years and 2 months ago, I noticed a job ad to go out and sell a device for vehicles or marine vessels or anything else that uses liquid hydrocarbon fuels.
Yeah.
And I'd already read an article about it, but how good it was. So I applied for the job and I got it as a distributor. And this is way back in 1989. And it was quite amazing, really. I was selling the device, which by then in the UK was already being used by police forces and ambulance services and local authority fleets and fishing fleets and P&O ferries and Sea Link ferries, and it got on BBC Top Gear. So it wasn't, I thought, Mickey Mouse at all. I was getting amazing feedback from the many customers I had, and it was all absolutely brilliant for a while. And it was a job, and it paid okay, and it was just really satisfying thing to do.
Okay.
And it became more than that. In about 1990, because suddenly it was hit by the most horrendous publicity, which was unfathomable, really.
So what was this device then? What is it that you're selling? And then talk us through what happened on the publicity side.
Okay, well, the device is known as a fuel catalyst. The original name of the product was Carbon Flow, and it had actually been developed by the Royal Air Force in 1941 to let Hurricane aircraft that needed high-octane fuel run on low-octane fuel instead. This was when the RAF sent Hurricane aircraft to northern Russia to operate there in 1941, and they needed the best possible fuel they could get, but when they got to Russia they only had very poor quality fuel, and they developed a catalyst based on the effects of tin in conjunction with Russian scientists. It solved the problem. That's where it came from.
So this is a little something that you put in the fuel tank, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I do have two websites, one about the story that I wish to tell. I think the story is very important because it really shows exactly how the whole system we live under works and the crookedness of it all. And another, I do have a website about the product itself and a very refined version of it.
Yeah.
So there's that. But going back to that, there was this publicity, just as it seemed like. So there was, a roughly, we think, around 200,000 vehicles and vessels using this back in 1989. The numbers using it were growing exponentially. And this publicity that came out put it into reverse, and years of adverse publicity basically consigned it to the dustbin of history in the UK. But a colleague named Peter Murphy, who had been very much involved in emissions control and in the motor industry, emissions control and fuel system design. He, together, and I researched this publicity and found out it was the most spectacular deception you could ever imagine.
Right.
And so it became rather more then than just a job. It became a crusade, really, that has gone on to this day, except that after years and years of struggle and being dismissed as cranks, suddenly people are believing us, which is only fair because everything we're saying is true. In particular with regard to the fact that if everybody had used this device, which we thought would happen, it seemed only common sense that it would, there would have been massive losses for the oil industry, not just reduced sales of fuel, but also virtually no demand anymore for any fuel additives, bar one or two. There were various expensive motor components would not have been needed, and even demand for new cars would have been reduced. And you cannot imagine, Geoff, the actual SH1T that was thrown at us from all directions, but it wasn't really from the vested interests precisely. Most of it came from organisations that people trust to inform them correctly, but they did the opposite, and we became involved.
That sounds familiar.
I beg your pardon?
I said that sounds familiar.
Yeah, very familiar. We've seen it. So, so when all the recent stuff came along, I thought, oh my gosh, this is familiar. Yeah,
absolutely. So this is a product it's developed in the 40s by the military then. By the late 80s, it's starting to pick up. Talk me through what the product is, what it does and how it works, and then tell me a bit more about how this publicity campaign then started to sort of destroy where you were getting to.
All right, well, let's start with the product. So we're talking about a fuel catalyst, and in its early form, it's a combination of tin and antimony with one or two other trace metals, and especially in contact with mild steel, it produces various chemical reactions in fuel. And it doesn't matter what the fuel is, petrol, diesel, paraffin, you name it. If it's liquid hydrocarbons or gas, it has a significant effect. One of them is galvanic. All the while that the catalyst is in there, there is a reaction going on, a little bit like if you've ever had an amalgam filling in your tooth.
Don't talk to me about teeth. Yeah, I'm having problems with my teeth at the minute. Yeah, so I've spent far too much time speaking to dentists. Sorry, carry on.
That's all right. Now, well, a lot of people have had this experience, and they then bite into like a tinfoil chocolate wrapper or anything like it. It hurts. The reaction between the filling in the tooth and the wrapper is setting up an electrical current that bloody hurts. Well, it's setting up an electrical current in fuel, which has a lot of effects. There's also various other effects as well, because laboratory analysis, for example, has shown a slightly increased amount of hydrogen in fuel. And there's been a lot of research done on this. It's just that people have never been told is the problem we have. Anyway, so what we're talking about here, I mean, I don't know if you mind, but if somebody wants a simpler explanation, I do have a website which is called fuelcatalyst.co.uk, which actually explains a lot of it. And you can see what the product is there. So we're talking about just literally small metal elements that need to go either in the fuel tank or in the fuel line between the tank and the engine. And they work very well in the fuel tank. And we get some really amazing results with it. Not even though it was invented in 1941, it is still working now in 2025. Sometimes the results are really big, sometimes they're modest. But once you fit these, they last for the life, 100,000 miles or 10 years, but probably a lot more than that in most cases. And it's a fit and forget device, and it's just permanent improvements in efficiency engines run cleaner, emissions are reduced. Sometimes the results are spectacular, sometimes they're modest. There's a lot of factors go on, but it is explained as accurately and honestly as I can do it with my 36 years of experience on the website I just mentioned. And so that's in a nutshell what the product is. Shall I go on to how they shut it up?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, so everything was hunky-dory, like I said, all that time ago, half a lifetime ago for me. I'm 71 now. And then suddenly there were the headlines appeared just saying this is the worst product in the world, do not touch with barge pole, etc., etc. And we thought, what? But anyway, it was devastating because instead of sales taking off, they went into reverse.
Yeah.
And Peter and I, we were put into a very difficult position by this. And it was actually led by the most trusted authority in the land, the Automobile Association, who actually went to the trouble of creating a special report about it, which they sent to the press and to the public and to overseas motoring organisations as well, explaining their reasons why nobody should risk touching this product. And we read the report, and it was so convincing for a while we almost believed it ourselves.
Wow.
But we then read the report, and we said, well, what evidence have they got? And actually, they had 5 tests that they based their conclusions on.
Yeah.
And we were able very easily to prove that one of them had never happened. There was ample grounds to speculate that 2 more had never happened, and the other 2 were definitely rigged, no question about it.
Interesting, because that's not the first time. Well, that may have been the first time that the Automobile Association, the AA, have come out on what I would call the wrong side of things, because I've often wondered why the AA, and particularly Edmund King, haven't been more vocal about what's been going on in the car industry of late. But now that you're saying, it seems to me that they're willing to bid on behalf of whoever's going to pay them, then it starts to make sense, their current position on EVs and everything else. So yeah, all right, this is interesting. Sorry, go on, carry on then. Yeah.
Well, anyway, so Peter's very tenacious. Well, I'll be honest, so am I. We then found a link, by the way, between the AA and the Shell UK oil.
Yeah.
And all this is explained in the report that's on the roof of your car.
I apologise.
And all the evidence is there to prove it in that report. There's no ifs, no buts about it. We then got involved in correspondence with the AA, first their engineering department, who couldn't answer any of the questions at all. And we actually managed to escalate it to their boardroom, to their most senior management. By then it was the mid-1990s.
Yeah.
And we actually found ourselves in their boardroom in front of their most senior management and legal person, and some oppos they had. And the AA then in the 1990s were looking for a way out because they were they'd nailed us so firmly to the mast. Well, basically, what they was, if our story had leaked out, they stood to have been sued by everybody in our position.
Yeah.
For one thing, but not only they had literally lied through their teeth to motorists, millions of them, including their own members. They stood to be sued by them as well. Interesting. And it was obviously it was a very sore point with its very raw nerves there. They were looking, we think, for a way out of this predicament that they themselves had caused. But there wasn't a way out because they were just had nailed their colours so firmly to the mast. Yeah. So what did they do? Well, they put out yet more misleading statements. There was still public interest in this. They actually employed a full-time sales team a sales team in reverse, taking incoming calls, people saying they've heard about this device, it sounds marvellous, but we want to know that the AA recommends it. They actually employed full-time people to tell people, do not use this device. That's how ridiculous it was.
Wow.
Anyway, so that was all going on in the 1990s. And we tried to get it in the public domain, but absolutely nobody would believe us. We put it, and then the internet forums came along. We tried to get it on there. And I cannot tell you, Geoff, the names we were called and the insults that were thrown our way. I don't know how many were the genuine members of the public who just believe what they're told, and how many were paid trolls. I do not know, but it was very dispiriting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and they shut it up here. But Geoff, it was not just the AA; it was the Consumers Association. It was the Office of Fair Trading. It was the Advertising Standards Authority. It was, dare I say it, but it's true, a big player in this was Practical Classics magazine, that literally started off by describing this product as the answer to classic car owners' prayers. That's in their words.
Yeah.
In one article, and then the next article, they said, oh no, it's no good, this product, don't use it. And then, damn me, they're then sponsored by Castrol Oil, that is then making a fuel additive that is directly competitive with this product.
Interesting.
The whole thing, yeah, all of that, that's Practical Classics. What Car magazine all went down exactly the same route. And those were the two rigged tests in the AA's report.
Right.
And although I only call it a FuelSpiracy, not a conspiracy.
Yeah. There certainly sounds like there's some conspiring there, yeah.
Well, yeah, and if you've got the report on the roof of your car, do read it, because I know how busy you are, we all are, but I think you'll find that it's hook, line and sinker. With all these organisations and all more, they just buried it. But I think what they weren't expecting was that with the advent of the internet, and so going back still over 25 years ago, and
yeah,
we started looking, and suddenly copies of this very product were now being used by the United States Navy.
Interesting.
And the United States Army. And the shipping in the Pacific and trains in India.
Wow.
And this British invention that nobody in Britain, hardly anybody in Britain knows about anymore, is suddenly elsewhere in the world taking up. Not to a fraction of what would happen if it wasn't for a whole industry resistance to it around the world, but still. Now, there's several million of these devices of various manufacturer in use around the world as we speak, and yet here in Britain hardly anybody knows about it. And in fact, most people in the world don't know about it. We've come to Canada, my partner Jackie and I, for a family visit. And we're here right now until the end of October. End of September, I beg you, yes, back October the 1st. We see here a huge differential between the price of various grades of fuel. And although I haven't tried it, I would imagine that here that they could run vehicles designed for really expensive fuel. And there's a massive gap, far bigger than the UK, on the cheaper fuel. And we haven't tested that one out. We're getting marvellous results now. If people need E5, for instance, generally with this product they don't. You run on put E10 and you just don't notice the difference. And
from the from a timing point of view of this video being made and going out as well, we're now looking at starting to see E15 on the forecourts, which I know car people are going to be concerned about. 15% ethanol this is a good time to get this out in the mainstream. What do we need to do? I think what I need to do, and I'm open to your suggestions on this, is I think I need to test this. I think I need to do a road trip without it, and then the same road trip with it, and really see what kind of results would I expect to see? What would be a good car to choose for that test? What would be a good journey? What would be a good way to actually show people what this product is?
Right, let's think this one through. Older cars tend to produce the fastest results. What happens, Geoff? For instance, if we had a rolling road, imagine we did an old-fashioned rolling road, and I live in Devon. There is one in Plymouth, and just a few years ago, we did it on several vehicles, or I did it on 2 vehicles and a motorcycle, actually. An old-fashioned rolling road with these huge drums on it. What happens is, so we do baseline figures, and it's always good to be objective, I think, and a rolling road is, to a point. It's not a full scientific test. Yeah. And what we did was for maximum power. Yeah. And for instance, the guy who owned the rolling road, he had a Volkswagen, he did air-cooled engines. Yeah. And he imported a Volkswagen air-cooled, it was like a drop-side air-cooled.
Like a bay window camper, drop-side pickup sort of thing, late 60s. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and what he did was he put he did 3 maximum power runs, and he got 44 bhp. He got the maximum, he averaged it out at 42 bhp. Yeah. And then within an hour, we fitted the device. It works just as well in the tank as in line, but it works faster in line. Yeah. We did an inline device, and put one on, and within an hour, 42 had become over 45 bhp. Okay. Now that's a big increase. Now I think generally I would say we get a 3 or 4% increase within an hour of power. If that increase is not used as extra speed, you will then get a fuel economy benefit. And measuring this on a day-to-day basis on the road is bloody difficult, actually. Yeah. Because you've got so many variables. But what happens, that extra power is the result of better combustion inside the combustion chamber. Okay. And when you have that, existing carbon deposits are removed. Now, that takes 1,000 or 2 miles, or maybe more, but usually within a couple of thousand miles. By the time that's happened, then you're getting a very significant difference on average between vehicles with and without. So, I hesitate to, what I don't ever want to do is overstate what it might do. Yep. And I've revived this, and I've also been introduced to a design engineer, and he's developed a product that is, we believe, and initial results are showing an even greater enhancement because of various technical things. And if you look on the website, you'll see it. Yeah. Like a larger surface area and the addition of copper and mild steel integral, which increases the catalytic action. And so I've been going on this, and I've sold, and there's quite a number have gone out now, quite a number. For instance, there's a transport fleet based at a very well-known airport, and he operates trucks that can take the fuel backwards and forwards to the aeroplanes, and he has strict CAA regulations, and he therefore has sophisticated equipment for emissions and everything else, and he's bowled over by the results he's got on the tankers, and also the machines that push planes out backwards before they take off. I don't know what they're called. Yeah, okay. But the torque is very significantly increased. I've had people write back and say immediately, I say that it'll take 2,000 miles or 1,000 miles before they see the result. I've had people, a large number, unsolicited, email me and say, I cannot believe this. I fitted it this morning, this afternoon, it's driving like a new car. Okay. On the other hand, I can be absolutely honest, I've had people saying, well, I think it's going a bit better, but I can't be sure, but I'm happy it's working and it'll clean the engine out. So I don't want to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. At the very least, it will make a difference, and it will make a permanent difference. And there's various things, aspects to it. It is covered as concisely as I can on the website. Another one, for example, thing with this, as you probably know, if you have something like a lawnmower or an outboard engine or a motorcycle, and you use it all summer long, you've got no problem at all. But with modern fuels, you don't put it away for the winter and you don't drain the tank and et cetera, et cetera. You take it out in the spring, go to start it, and you'll find that the fuel's turned to not fuel anymore at all. And you've got a real problem getting it going at all. But if you've got this in the fuel system, by and large, it will start first time, the fuel will still be in perfect condition.
Interesting.
So with all of this going on, absolutely there is. And obviously I'll be more than happy, absolutely more than happy for you to try it out on any of these things. I am a long way away at the moment, and it'll be October the 1st or 2nd before I can get them to you. But I'm very, very happy to do that. But an older vehicle or a motorcycle, but it will work on a new vehicle as well. And I've had really good results or feedback from new vehicles. Yeah. So I think it's present me with one or two scenarios, Geoff, and we'll work it out. Absolutely.
All right, that's exciting. I'll do that. I've got a couple of cars in mind that I use regularly. I've also got this motorhome that I've been doing as well that has done 180,000 miles, and I'm told we'll do 25 miles to the gallon on a run. So it'd be really interesting to run it in a vehicle like that. Or I say I've done a lot of international touring with my old Volvo. I'm more than happy to be a guinea pig, but I'm also very happy to go in with an open mind and you know, just give it a go. And if I can find a car that you think will show some gains, then it'd be really interesting to do, like I said, we'll do one trip with it, one trip without it, or document it with one of my cars and see how we get on over time. I'm curious to try this because, like you said, my understanding of this is that it was quackery, it's snake oil, it's money for old rope. You know, that's the way that we've been told about all of these fuel additives, and now it seems that narrative has been shaped. And I think if people are starting to realise that the government and the people with the money do shape narratives for their benefit, sometimes products that actually work fall by the wayside.
Well, absolutely, Geoff, and that is to me is, you know, what we're faced with. It's just absolutely horrendous. The whole situation, the new world order, and all the rest of it. And that keeps me going as much as the product itself, or they both do.
Yeah.
Because people, you know, there are still people out there, many of them, and no fault of their own, they still believe what they read in the papers and see on the BBC.
Yeah.
As they should be allowed to. If you can actually dust off that book on your shelf, Geoff, on the roof of your car, have a look, because this is what I find, that there's absolutely no ifs, no buts about this. It shows to anybody how we're deceived. And I thought all these years, I thought this was a one-off case. And then, of course, along comes COVID. Yeah. And then I realised, no, it isn't. But the extent to which it's documented, and that none of the organisations I've made could even start to dispute any of it, that makes it, I think, fairly unique.
Yeah, and I think if we could finish on that positive note as well, I think the positive is once you start to realise that people are trying to pull the wool over your eyes, you tend to do a lot more research on the products that you use, whether that's food or fuel additives, medicines, your stuff you're cleaning your house and your body with. You'll go and do the research because you'll realise, hang on a minute, the thing that we've been told is probably not correct, so I better go find out for myself. and I think it makes us more informed because we've been through all of this crap. So yeah, I'd be very interested to when you're back from your break, and I'm soon to be taking a break as well, so the timing works really well, and we'll see if we can try these products and see how they go.
Yeah, well, that'd be absolutely brilliant, Geoff. What I'll do is I'll give October the 2nd, I'll give you a call and I'll gladly send you product or whatever. Yeah. And we'll take it up from there. Ideally, this won't go out before, because if there is any feedback, I won't be able to deal with it from here.
Okay, fine. Well, I could speak to you about a publish date for this video. That's not a problem at all. But I mean, in terms of, you know, product placement and stuff like that on YouTube, I think people would probably say, oh, Geoff, you're being paid. I'd quite happily host a product like this on the channel for free, because if there's something that's going to make my car run better and run cheaper, then I'm going to want to share it with people.
Fantastic. Oh, well, brilliant, Geoff. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, I'll contact you again October the 2nd when we're back from here, and provide you with product, whatever you want. I really appreciate this afternoon for you, I know.
Lovely. All right, Andrew, we'll speak soon.
Okay, Geoff, brilliant. Thanks ever so much.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Interesting. I've been meaning to speak to Andrew for so long, and now I've caught him whilst he's in Canada. Genuinely, if there's a product out there that is going to make my car run better and run cheaper and allow me to spend less time at the petrol pumps, I'm all for it. I think I covered everything in that phone call, but let me know what you think. It may be that there's products out there, you may already know about this, but I've suspected, and we know this, you know, we know that the oil cartels, companies, marketing people, whatever, we know they control the narrative on fuel. We know that someone's come up with a water-powered car and then disappeared. We know that people found free energy and then they've disappeared, and Nikola Tesla died penniless. There's alternative stuff out there to what we're told, and yeah, I look forward to seeing it. Thanks for watching.